Hey everybody, Boise State beat writer Ron Counts here with New Mexico beat writer Steve Virgen. Steve, thank you so much for joining us today. And we're going to preview this weekend's game. It's a big game for Boise State coming off a really disappointing season opener. Expectations were high heading into Oregon State, and they didn't meet them. New Mexico, on the other hand, trounced Maine 41-0. They look really dominant on the ground. So Steve, let's start right there. I mean, is the ground game expected to be the offense, the strength of the offense this year?
For sure, it's their foundation. The foundation of the offense is the run game. I actually just wrote a story. I'm going to file probably later today about the running backs, led by Nate Jones, who sat out the opener. They weren't too specific why he sat out, but basically it stems from about a year ago, falling into not meeting expectations of the coach's expectations, basically. But he's a talented runner. Very fast, got some physicality to him. But yeah, their run game, I think they really count on that. They depend on it. Even their receivers, like Luke Weissong, he'll take some carries as far as the option game goes. We saw that in the opener. And they also have this other kid named Jaden Hullaby, transferred from Texas. And they use him as a running back. They use him as a tight end. He's kind of a wild card, so to speak. And in the opener against Maine, they lined him up as the QB, and he took the direct snap. So it was kind of like the wild Lobo instead of the Wildcat, I guess. And he just took it. He's a very physical runner, very hard to bring down. So that's why they put him back there as a kind of change things up a bit. But yeah, their running game, I mean, they're very confident in it. They got some big offensive linemen as opposed to last year. A lot of new faces on the offensive line that are kind of made for those type of situations as far as running goes, but they know they do have to take some shots down the field if they're going to have any chance against Boise. So they'll take some deep shots. I expect them to anyway, because yeah, they just can't rely totally on the run game. But we'll see what happens. Very, very strong run game for sure, though.
Yeah, I've heard good things about Nate Jones. What stands out about him on the field?
He's got a quick first step. He's got breakaway speed, something that they kind of lacked last year. He was redshirted last year, and he was on the scout team. And from what I heard, and I didn't actually close some of those practices a lot, but from what I heard, he was still the number one running back as far as a scout back goes. But he brings big playability to them. The kid who started in place of Sherrod White, he's a very physical runner, so he's a nice change of pace, so to speak. But yeah, Nate has a lot of qualities to him, and I think from what I've heard, who I talked to, they say he's very hungry because he hasn't played in a year. His last game was the season finale in 2000 when they upset Fresno State. He had 2 touchdowns in that game. So yeah, he's hungry, he's eager, and the fact that it's against Boise State, I think it kind of gets him more excited.
Sure. And Miles Kendrick comes in this year from Kansas. How has he kind of meshed with the rest of the roster, and what does he kind of add? What does he add to the offense?
I think he's meshed quickly with the roster. A lot of guys like him. He's a likable guy. He's got good leadership qualities to him. He's a little bit undersized, 5'10", I believe, but he's a very good runner, very smart runner, very smart with the pitch. I can't underestimate that as far as being really accurate with that pitch, because it could lead to turnovers. But he's been really, really accurate, and he's in sync with Luke Weissong on the pitches from what we saw in the opener. He was a little jittery in that first game. Kind of hankish, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But he was. You could tell he was a little bit nervous because it was his first game back from an injury that he suffered in November. But once he got going. I think in the first drive he threw an interception. It was very, very bad read, very ugly, and he took responsibility for it because he threw a bad throw. But I think he was something he overcame. But again, they didn't take. I don't think they took many deep shots, and there was a couple times we saw a couple players wide open deep, and he would check down. And the wind had a lot to do with that too. There was a lot of wind that night, so we'll see what type of throws he has. I know he has a good arm, nice touch, but again, it was nothing. They've added a lot of speed during the offseason as far as transfers go, and they didn't use that in the opener. They just went strictly on the running game. So.
Sure. And Rocky Long is out there, one of the top group of 5 defensive coordinators in the country, in my opinion. What makes his defensive scheme so unique and so difficult to prepare for?
A lot of movement, a lot of pre-snap movement. They're moving just as much offense sometimes. I think the stunts make it difficult from what I've seen for offenses. They stuff run games very sound when it comes to stopping the run. It would be interesting to see who starts a quarterback for Boise for that reason. But I think their ability to change their defense based on what the offense is showing makes it more difficult for the offense, obviously. I mean, even when they're moving, Rocky Long usually picks up on what they're trying to do right away, and he'll have the defense move based on those movements that the offense is making, which makes it difficult on the offense, obviously, because they think they got something to their advantage when it's Rocky notices something right away and they move their defense in the right positions to make a big play. And they made some big plays against Maine, fumble recovery, interception. A couple times they almost, had a pick six. And I think that makes them dangerous. Obviously, the defense is their strength for the Lobos. And when they're moving around like that, they adjust, the adjustments they make, like just before the snap, I think that makes it really difficult for the offense.
And Jarek Reed is one of the top DBs in the conference this year. In your opinion, is he an NFL guy? And what is maybe his greatest trait on the field?
I think he's a last day guy. He could be a last day guy. I think he's got a lot of speed. He's become more physical. I think the coaching change benefited him the most out of all the players on that team. Even though he was a bit, he wasn't on the same page when they went to the coaching change and brought in Danny Gonzalez. He wasn't on the same page as Coach Gonzalez, but once they have meshed, you could see that it's benefited him the most. He's a very good defender. He's able to make a big play on defense, able to get the turnover. I just think last year he was just like inches away from making a lot of big plays and didn't make them. And I think that's a big reason why he came back, because I think he could have taken a chance and probably see what he could have done in the NFL draft. But in his mind, it was a disappointing year last year for him, and that's why he's back. But yeah, I think he has some qualities to him that could be drafted and end up on an NFL team. But I think this year is very dependent on that, because even though he has those measurables, I think it's making the plays, and he didn't do that last year, and we'll see if he does it this year.
Sure. You mentioned a couple of times that it's always a big game when you guys play Boise State. New Mexico upset Boise State a couple of years ago on the blue. They took that picture in the end zone after the game. I mean, is that a game that still gets talked about around the program?
I don't hear it. I don't hear it much.
Really?
I mean, I think it's because of the coaching change. It was under Davey that win, so I think that's why it was brought up a lot. But I think Coach Gonzalez is really big on history, really big on alumni. He's just really connected with alumni because he's alumni and he's alum. And I think with them, with all the Lobo alumni, with them, it really they remember that win. I don't think these kids on the team really do, obviously, but they don't talk about it much. But as far as the fans, and a lot of them are alumni that come to the game, they still talk about that game, how big it was. Even those that weren't on that team, just the people that connect with that team and connect with the program, they still talk about it. But as far as going into this game, I've heard nothing of it.
Sure. Okay. So last one for me. I mean, in the end, what decides this game in your opinion? And if you want to, go ahead and put a prediction on it.
I say big plays. Big plays are going to make the difference. The ability to make a big play, grab momentum. In my opinion, I think this game is more important to Boise State, and for New Mexico, they're an up-and-coming team. They could obviously they want to win, obviously, but I think if they contend, it would be a huge win for them if they contend. And I think they have the ability to take this game into the fourth quarter, still being undecided, still being a tight game, kind of, so to speak. But in the end, I think Boise State's going to win this game. I wouldn't say going away. I think it's going to be a tight game. Maybe they pull away late in the end, but I'm not sure how to put a score on it, but I would say Boise State wins. I mean, like I said, I think this game is more important to Boise State, and for that reason, I think they win.
Sure, absolutely. Steve, thank you so much for doing this, and I'll see you on game day.